Nope.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's like a public chat section. Okay,
Yeah.
neat.
The question is, oh yeah, okay, it worked.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we should be good. Hey everyone, this is new for us, so please, please give us some grace here. We're trying a new program to stream this. We're not going through like Streamlabs and anything. We're going through this program we record in. So, please, before we get started, if you could just let us know if you can hear us and how the levels are, because I also am assuming this program is going to be doing some stuff that I had to do manually before.
I'm talking now so that you can tell if I'm too quiet or too loud.
Wow,
And I
what a guy.
refuse to talk.
You're a little loud for me, Matt.
I'm always a little loud for you, Scott.
Rude. Wait, was that rude?
No, too far the other way, if anything. I also if I type in the public chat in Riverside, it doesn't show up in YouTube.
No, I saw it. Wait, it doesn't? Oh,
Not in YouTube.
it doesn't
It,
show
it
up
does. Yeah.
in YouTube, so we can see YouTube. Oh, it
Yes.
shows up for me. It just didn't show up for you.
Yeah. Okay. There's Matt. Yeah. Okay. So I guess we just have our own secret chat in the side.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. Matt, you're a little loud.
I am a little loud. Well,
Why don't you just
I don't know what to do.
crack that gain down just a little bit?
Is that
You
better?
were very loud. You were very loud when I edited the Doofcast. Like you were like -1 decibels native before I started messing with it. It was nuts. So okay. You're a lot. Okay,
I
what?
turned it down though.
That might be a delayed message. This is the problem. Is
Yeah.
slightly delayed.
Am I quieter now?
You sound perfect to me now.
Okay,
You are
good.
not
Sound good on
you are
my
not
end.
blowing up the
Great.
mic anymore. Cool. Well, this is neat. So yeah, we are recording via our new podcast recording platform, Riverside, which we switched to a couple months ago, and they have this stream feature that's included with our service. And I figured, let's see how this goes. So far so good. So I think we're just about ready to get started. So sorry for not just like hitting the ground running. But there's an Elliot here too. He's throwing us for a loop.
It's what I do.
All right, I think we're ready.
All right.
So this is a thing that we will not do on stream from now on, but we are going to count down and then Matt's going to start. So apologies everyone for that. Let's do it. Let's count down and let's go.
Okay.
Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to the Doof Book Club, our monthly live stream discussion of a book chosen by you, our listeners. My name is Matt Freeman, and joining me as always, the night drinker himself, Scott Daly.
Wait, what does that mean? Is that an insult?
You're just a little guy.
I actually thought about like bringing a beer to be like I'm literally drinking at night, and then I realized I didn't have any, so I couldn't do that.
And joining us this week, special guest co-host Elliot Diebold. Welcome, Elliot.
Hey, glad to be here.
Super fan of James S.A. Corey extraordinaire.
And not a night drinker.
Not a night drinker.
Well, it's not night there, so
yeah, true.
You know,
day drinker.
I'm something of a day drinker myself. Hello, everyone. Oh, we're really excited about this, folks. We're happy to have Elliot here, and we're happy to be here in book club once again. If anyone just wandered in here from outside and has no idea what is going on, we are Doof Media, and we make podcasts all about the stories we love. We also arrange, organize, and host this monthly book club. Matt, please explain to the good people at home what a book club is.
Well, each month, Scott and I select 5 books from a pool submitted to us by our wonderful Doof community. We put up a poll for all of the supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/doofmedia and let them vote on which they'd like us to talk about. The book with the most votes wins, and then we all read it.
And then we meet here on the last Friday of the month and spend an hour, hour and a half, however long we want to actually talk about the book. Yes, there might be some night drinking tonight, but we do actually talk about the book, which makes us very different from a lot of book clubs out there. Um, so before we get to this month's book, I did just post a link into the chat for everyone listening. That link will send you to a straw poll that will let you pick 2 of our 5 books nominated for next month. This is what we do. We have our patron vote, as Matt just mentioned, but we also let people that attend the book club live vote, and we add those votes together, and that's how we decide officially what the book for next month will be. So please go in. That poll will be open until the very end of the show. Go in, vote for your 2 books, and we'll figure out what we're going to do next at the end of the show. But Matt, what are we doing now?
Well, this month we're talking about The Mercy of Gods by James S.A. Corey. And the summary is as follows.
We're going to let Elliot do the summary.
Caught up in academic intrigue and affairs of the heart, Daffod Alcor is pleased to just be an assistant to a brilliant scientist and his celebrated research team. Then, the Carrack's ships descend, decimating the human population and taking the best and brightest of Anjin society away to serve on the Carrack's homeworld, and Daffod is swept along with them. They are dropped in the middle of a struggle they barely understand, set in a competition against the other captive species, with extinction as the price of failure. Only Daffod and a handful of his companions see past the Darwinian contest to the deeper game that they must play that they must play to learn to understand and manipulate the Carracks themselves. With a noble but suicidal human rebellion on the one hand and strange and murderous enemies on the other, the team pays a terrible price to become the trusted servants of their new rulers. Daffod Alcor is a simple man swept up in events that are beyond his control and more vast than his imagination. He will become the champion of humanity and its betrayer, the most hated man in history, and the guardian of his people. This is where his story begins.
Okay, so the reason I copied this whole thing over is because I read this morning and I was like, that's the whole book that they just that's the entire story
Yeah.
that they just put in the summary of the book.
I would actually, I would argue against that slightly. I don't think he's become the most hated member of humanity yet. That's actually telling us what's coming in the sequels.
Good
Okay,
point.
that's even worse. Yeah.
Wait.
Good point.
I spoiled the first 2 books on the dust jacket of the first book. Yeah. Fantastic.
No, I mean, just to get into that, I mean, the book itself is pretty upfront with that as well. Like, it obviously starts with the writings of Ekur Taklal, the keeper librarian of the human moieties. But like it reminded me of Dune, and I'm sure there's a dozen other books that have done it as well. But like, just sort of starting with like, yeah, this guy is going to be a problem. It is a fun setup, I reckon.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, the Dune connection. I agree. Just like, so okay. I don't know. I'll just say I enjoyed this book. The funny thing that happened with me was like the first 50 pages or whatever are graduate school political drama, and I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm here for this. And then aliens invaded, and that plot line ended completely, and I was like, oh.
I wouldn't say it ended completely. I think all their little points of contention within the group just gets picked up and moved somewhere else with higher stakes.
Okay, I was joking. You're exactly right.
Yeah. No, and like Tonna does his best to make sure that the petty drama of the graduate school is kept alive and well.
Yeah.
He really carries that burden.
Yeah, so Elliot, I guess we should have maybe said this in the introduction, but the reason you're here is because you and your co-host Ruben are currently working through the Expanse book series on your wonderful podcast, Belting at Windmills. And this book is written by the same author, so there was synergy here, and we jumped at it.
Yeah. Oh,
So
and I mean on my end, I really enjoyed this book, but could tell I already used all my credits getting Ruben to do the Expanse, so I wasn't going to get a chance to do like a companion show talking about this one. So I was excited to have the chance to talk about it because yeah, I really like it.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about it overall a bit, and folks in the chat as well. What did you think of this book overall, Elliot? I'm curious what you thought about it, and maybe as a good comparison point, how does it compare to how you feel about The Expanse?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we've got one book compared to 9,
Sure.
and it's newer, so there's not as much depth. But I really like this as the series that follow. Like, I think it reads like, okay, we're done with the Expanse. Let's write our next thing, and there's going to be a few ways we'll go exactly against that. And the obvious one is obviously because this book club's covered the first Expanse book. That one is all just humans in space. This one very much goes the other way, and they're trying to cram as many alien species in there as they can for
Yeah.
sections. And Daffod's a bit the opposite of Holden and those books as well. So yeah, I don't know. Like obviously, I'm keen to keep following it. I think I really like this series, but conceptually, I like The Expanse a bit more. And Mercy of Gods is fun, but it's also it's a slow book, and
Mm,
like I don't necessarily mean that as a bad thing, but that makes it hard to get as obsessed with it. I think.
sure. Yeah, I think
I,
that makes sense.
I really like uh, saying Daffod is the opposite of Holden. It's like, yeah, you have this guy who is honest to a fault, sticks to his word, even if it's a terrible idea, versus Daffod, who is the perfect manipulator, who is always reading people and adjusting, and a just total chameleon. Um,
Yeah.
it was interesting to me. I saw a lot of people reacting to Daffod really strongly, just hating Daffod in the Discord and so forth. And I got to admit, Daffod is like my favorite kind of
Yeah.
like Weasley character. Like this is I like him for the same reason that I like a lot of villains, actually, where it's like he speaks to the darkness within me. I love that.
I definitely
I
had a
agree.
moment while reading this book where I was like, Matt's gonna love this little fucker.
I do.
I'm so glad because I was ready to be like the one Dafford supporter based on what I was seeing on the Discord. So that's good. I agree. He's fun and like I think this is the situation where humanity needs Daffords, whether we want to or not. Like it is fun. I could the argument for this book is almost just like how can we create a situation where actually Daffod is the hero, kind of. Um,
Yeah. No, you're totally right because the ending of the book. I mean, there's a lot happens in this book. I think you're right that it's slow paced in an overall sense, but it also there's a lot of stuff that happens. I say that because I'm like when I say the ending of the book, I mean like basically the last plot movement where he has to betray everyone.
mm,
Um, you're basically my experience reading that was very intense because you're like, okay, all of the characters who are going to do this, attempted mutiny, it's completely suicidal. Not only are they going to get themselves killed, but they're probably going to get humanity judged as being, a failure and get
yeah,
humanity completely genocided through their like um actions that would normally be seen as heroic, like exactly the kind of thing that uh Holden would do,
yeah.
right?
It's a very romanticized like revolution. Very 1984 sort of doesn't matter if we win or lose, like as long as we fought, sort of energy.
And then he just is like, nope, we're not doing that, and he gets them all killed, and you feel this. I think sick triumph is is a
Yeah.
description of my emotional state. I was like, oh, good. we I guess humanity's not going to get wiped out, but Jesus Christ. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I agree with I did not hate Daphne as much as some of our listeners are talking about for sure. I think the book so like my overall opinions on this book is I enjoyed it. I do very much think that this book feels like a prologue to a larger
Yeah.
story. Um, and like that's not to say that makes it a bad book, but it is very much like you talked to Elliot how it's slow, and I think it is slow. It's because its primary function is to set up and move pieces to get into a place for the quote unquote real story to begin. And the
Yeah.
side effect of that is that it does move a little bit slow, and it feels like that. It just feels like setup. And it's enjoyable setup. I liked a lot of the characters. I think the world building is really interesting. But I did get that feeling.
Yeah.
More so than when I read the first Expanse book as a comparison point.
Yeah, well, and that one was written, I think, not guaranteed to get sequels, whereas, yeah,
Sure,
this one I think was immediately a 3-book deal, and they've, yeah,
sure.
obviously lent into that. I do, yeah. I guess I just coming in it as an Expanse fan, I trust these authors enough to be like, yep, one book of setup, I'm in. Wait, yeah, good enough for me. Whereas, yeah, I suppose if this was your first James S. A. Corey book, I could see why you'd be a little bit like, That's it."
So in that first Expanse book, it was very clear to me like which one of these two guys was writing which character. Do you know, Elliot, like how they divided up? Because there's more than just two point of views in this book. There's
Yeah.
there's quite a few actually.
No, they've sort of my understanding is it's not as clear cut anymore. There's much more back and forth on every character. I've actually just started engaging. They're writing a novel together publicly on Patreon. Um,
Oh, interesting.
so like there's a Patreon called James S. A. Corey Writes the Novel, and basically you get to see like the drafts of chapters they send each other and the notes they send back. And it's like I've just started engaging with that. That's really cool. But it's um yeah, I think it was just for that first project, like Leviathan Lakes, that they really owned a character each, and since then it's been a bit more like now I think they've just been working together long enough. It's fluid.
I think it is worth saying for maybe some of our listeners that have never read an Expanse novel and just came into this one for the first time that yeah that James S.A. Corey is a pen name. It's two guys writing
Yeah.
their projects together. So um, I should have mentioned that before we went right into the who wrote which part question. Sorry about that. So okay, there's plenty of great stuff I want to talk about. I do want to talk about my one complaint overall with the novel. Um, and then we can move to the good stuff. But so I think it's really interesting that the kind of the framing of the book is that this alien race, the Carricks, are like so alien as to like their thought processes and their decision making and all that stuff is just completely different to humanity's. And so one of the big mysteries of the the whole thing is Daffin like trying to figure out like who are these people? Why are they acting the way they're acting? What do they want from us? What are they actually doing? Um, I do think, and I will see if you guys agree with me here. I think the choice to like cut to the perspective of, and I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. But that one character, who we cut to his perspective multiple times throughout the course of the book. I think cutting to his perspective multiple times, in my opinion, kind of hurt that overarching like mystery of it because we do like for example we learn that they like uncontrollably mutate how they look before the humans figure that out, right? There's a big moment where Daffin like comes to that realization and he's like, oh holy shit, this completely changes how I process and understand who these things are. And we knew that going into it. And we knew kind of their thought process and we knew how they think and what and like I kind of understand it because it's maybe hard to have his moment of realization and relay that information to us at that same moment in a way that like flows and is fun to read. But I don't know. What do you think? Did it hurt a little bit to reveal that to us and make it kind of more dramatic irony stuff?
I mean, on my end, I would say I kind of get what you're saying. I think it's a good point, but you get more bonus points for having a cool xenofiction character. So like that like over makes up for it. And I was
Fair.
yeah, I wouldn't cut it just because I was like it was so cool seeing this. I mean, yeah, but he was just kind of a I mean, I want to say dickhead, but I guess all the characters aren't really great. But like, like his obsession with the hierarchy and how animals are lower and stuff, and like just his obsession with racism, I guess, or space racism. Um,
Spacism.
yeah, like it was fun setup because I just imagine, especially since he's the guy who was writing the opening of each book, oh, like each part of this book. Um, I assume he's gonna be more of a character in the next one. So again, it might just
Yeah.
be a bit of a victim of setup itis.
Yeah.
I guess for my part, um, I like a good xenofiction as much as anyone. I just felt like it probably would have been stronger, especially if this was the book that's supposed to set things up and keep things kind of mysterious and keep us in the position of the humans who don't really understand what's going on. If we also didn't understand what was going on, because it felt like a little bit too, um, yeah, like we have a little bit too much clarity into what the characters are all about. And it would have been better, in my opinion, if we had stayed with Daffod and just been like, I don't know what these things are thinking. I don't know why they're doing the things they're doing, and it's completely opaque, and we have to puzzle it out from their actions. Um, that was some of my favorite parts of the book. Actually, was like we haven't talked about the night crawlers or whatever, the night drinkers, except for the intro joke. But like my favorite parts of the story have to do with the characters realizing that they have been put into some kind of surreal Darwinian death match against other races, but it's not like the rules are not clear to them, the objective is not clear to them, the lines that they're allowed to cross are not clear, uh and they have to figure it out by trying things and then maybe getting horrible consequences if they cross a line. And they like the fact that I don't know, again, my favorite part of the story is when they're like first realizing, oh shit, we can be attacked by other races here, then realizing the Carricks are not only not going to do anything about it, but they intend this to be part of the challenge, then realizing, well, hey, we're pretty bloodthirsty when we need to be, let's just go kill these guys. And then doing that, and like that was such a creative and original story progression to me
Yeah.
that I really did enjoy that.
Especially
Yeah,
the
well,
final.
also they
Sorry, go
find
ahead.
themselves in graduate school, but slightly even more competitive.
Yeah,
Yeah, Aqualungfish says graduation school battle royale.
yeah. Oh my god, that's what it is. That's the one line description of this book. You're right.
Yeah. I agree, and my favorite part of is the conclusion of this whole thing, where the night drinkers are like, "Oh, sorry, we fucked up. We please leave us alone. Please don't kill us." And their punishment for that is the Carricks being like, "Oh, well, they're not up to the task."
Yeah.
And just fucking kill them all. And you're
Yeah.
just like, and yeah, I mean, that is such a great moment. And it's like, I could sit here and pretend that I could say that would have been a better moment if I didn't already have a clear understanding of the Carricks, and that was a moment of as surprising to me as it was surprising to the humans. I don't actually know. Like we'll never know. But that thought did pop up into my head. Um,
Yeah, I do agree. I think it would have been nicer to perhaps push, because it's quite early in the first Ekur Klal chapter that we get, where he captures some of the enemy prisoners and flies them back to the homeworld.
yeah, yeah.
And like in a way, like I could see a version of the book where you do it instead, where we get that information from the swarm's perspective as it gets the download from the prisoners when it connects to them.
hmm
And that could avoid some of these pitfalls. But like, yeah, I kind of just have to assume it's because this character is going to be important going forward. So that you sacrifice some of the uh like cohesion of this book for the overall series, I guess.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think I'm interested in him. I think it's gonna be really interesting seeing how he interacts with these chucklefuck humans that he clearly, like, based on those history book, but like he just fucking hates he just fucking
Yeah.
hates us.
I really like how we get introduced to him when he's interrogating the prisoners, and the first thing he does is like, because he believes in the purity of the carracks, he designates one of the animals that he talks to,
Hmm.
and that one's responsible for all the others. And like, I'd sort of forgotten that detail the first time I got to the end, and then he's like, Daffod, you're gonna be the one, and I was just like, oh, that's yeah, like he does that. That makes sense. That's gonna be so fun because now he's just accidentally given Daffod a whole fuckload of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy that because he sort of made Daffod the emperor of mankind, like just by saying you're the one guy I'm going to talk to. Because now Daffod, and and I immediately also noticed like Daffod being very politically savvy will notice the implications of this and be able to just endlessly turn this crank to get what he wants from both sides of this. And like I can't say that I can predict like what's going to happen exactly, but I can predict the shape of it, and see how this is like the perfect guy to be in this position, for drama and also for the success of humankind.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm
And like,
seeing.
I do really like how those seeds are planted. Like, I fell in love with Daffod in chapter 1, like, where we're seeing him at the party, and he's schmoozing, and, like, everything about conversation for him is just like uh, not like a game, but like a thingy he's trying to score points with, and he's like, "I need to do this to earn, like, this credit in that person's mind," like it's an old Telltale game. Um But then
Yeah.
also, the whole reason he's at the party is because he has that stupid crush on Else, so it's like, yeah, as much as he's a schemer, he's also, like, a dumb idiot boy.
Yeah.
Um, and, like, that's sort of the tone that's set for the whole rest of the story, and it's just so fun to see it come together at the end with, like, "Okay, and now we've put this idiot in charge of everyone."
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even it's funny because you're right, like, the intro section, you're being set up stuff that you're not even aware you're being set up yet, because it's just like, it seems like this guy's just at a party and it feels awkward. But the book is laying all the groundwork for everything that's gonna happen at the very end. Um, and and I mean, I know you joked, Matt, about how or no, you did, Ellie, about humanity doesn't hate him yet, but I mean, it's so obvious, like like, for they don't even know that how many people know that he's the one that, like, sold him out? It's just a few, right?
As far as I'm aware, it'd just be the people in the final scene, so, like, basically the work group. And
Yeah,
even then, I think it's unclear how many of them fully grasp it. I mean,
yeah,
Uh,
I
Jellet, insofar as Jellet still exists,
yeah,
Right.
is
yeah. We gotta talk about the swarm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, is like the swarm is the only one who really knows 100%. And it's not, I mean, it's in cahoots with Daffod effectively. And
Mhm.
Daffod doesn't know, I mean, Daffod does not know that the swarm has, he doesn't understand the nature of the swarm. So he doesn't understand the swarm has taken over what's his
Right.
face. Yeah.
He just thinks the love of his life is dead.
Yeah.
Um, and he somehow she somehow convinced what's his name? Jellet over on his side at the very last minute.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I kind of assume that ignorance can't last too long in the next book, just because it seems like he has he. I don't know. Maybe it's from our like perspective of having the extra facts, like when the others find Elsa's body and there's no blood or anything. But I was just kind of like, come on, Daffod, like
Yeah.
you can put this together, buddy. Like you put together more complicated things, in my opinion.
I really liked all how all that was set up. Like we can maybe use this to just transition to talking about the swarm, but I was really into just structurally the fact that we kind of realize what it's doing with, like, oh yeah, it's totally gonna go into Jellet, and that's how it's gonna convince
Yeah.
him to participate. And I just love that it's very clear to us that that's happening before we see the body of Elsie. Is that how we they pronounce it?
I think it's Elsa, like
Okay.
Elsa.
I think just else. Like I use
Oh,
the audiobook for this listen, so
else. Yeah, I don't remember it. I listened to it at the beginning of the month. I was actually quite entertained by it. I listened to it really fast. Um,
Mhm.
people in the chat are pointing out a thing that I think I definitely shared, which is difficulty keeping the character straight. Speaking of the character names, I think I eventually got there, but I it just seemed like the problem, which is sort of the nature of the story, maybe, but I still think it could have been done differently. It's just like every character is sort of they're all graduate students or research assistants or professors or just something very sort of similar. Like they're all microbiologists who work in the same research department, and then there's like the old one and the girl who takes psych meds, and
and the
I'm
young
being
one,
and the young one
and
and the
the
one
jokester,
the jokester,
Yeah.
the
and the
nepotism.
traitor.
I mean, I was gonna say Daffod is the nepotism kid. He kind of is, but he's also kind of the protagonist. I admit I'm being a tad reductive. There's more to these characters than what I'm saying, but there's not a ton more, and there's a lot of characters, and it just makes it quite hard to keep them straight.
Yeah, I mean it's very nice of the book to kind of slowly whittle them away, so we don't have to keep them all in our heads.
And to that end, it also helps that we kind of split the group up and then bring it back together later.
Yeah.
So there's the group that we're with on the horrible spaceship sequence, which we also haven't talked about, where it's just this nightmare um, of everyone just like reverting to like uh, primitivism on the ship and using the poop mats and trying to kill one of their jailers with a shank and everything. Just really like I was gonna say unpleasant, but it's not an enjoyable part of the book. You're just like, oh my god, this is awful.
Yeah.
I think I'm
And
gonna be thinking about poop mats for the rest of my life.
yeah, yeah,
Well, because
me too.
I dog sit for my parents fairly regularly, and you got to put out the piss mats because those things aren't toilet trained.
Mhm.
And that's just I was just picturing a big one of those, and it
Uh-huh.
it, it did really feel degrading for the humans because
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because but
I think the orange light is also like so because this is being adapted into a TV show in case anyone was not
Oh wow.
aware. And I'm gonna be really interested to see what they do with because the book is constantly reminding us it's just a like plain orange light and everything's kind of monotone. And I think that will actually be a really cool visual for at least a while in the show.
yeah, I agree. Throughout the whole book, actually, I was thinking. I don't think I knew that it was going to be a TV show necessarily, but there were several moments when I was like, I feel like these guys are writing knowing that they're going to get a TV show, um, because it was very
Probably.
visual. Um, I mean, every book is descriptive, right? But it was like particularly descriptive. I liked, when they got to the city, the city planet, um, the descriptions of all of the crazy aliens that they were running into. I was like, yeah, this is written to be a scene in a show, um, like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think it's very descriptive in that way for sure. And yeah, I mean, I found that whole scene absolutely horrifying. I mean, it's like it is funny that this like so we talked about my complaints with the book. I just want to say like conceptually, it's such a fun idea of like what would happen if aliens showed up, we lost, and now we've been like thrown in an alien planet in the deep end and have to figure out what the fuck to do. Like it's just that is innately like by itself without all the character stuff we talk about, it's just a really fun idea, and I really like it just as a concept.
Yeah,
And as like so, the second I realized that's what this book was about, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a good time with this book, even if I have my little quibbles here and in there. I'm gonna have a good time
Yeah.
with this book because I think it is such a fun idea.
Yeah, and I kind of had the same issue with telling some of the characters apart, but luckily for me, it was all every pair I could like Arina and Jessen. I remember my first read through. I could not remember based on their names which one was the girl with depression and which one was the young one.
Hmm.
So I was really happy when Arina died because I was like, okay, good. Now I just have to remember Jessen, the depressed one, is the one that's left. Sweet. Um,
Yeah, I think by the end of it, I definitely had them all straight in my head, but I would be lying if there wasn't multiple moments throughout the book that I had to be like, okay, wait, who are you again? Especially
yeah.
in my mind, it was like Campar and Rickar. for those two men, and it eventually just forced my brain to go funny traitor. That was the funny one. That was the traitor. And then I would flip them and forget. But fortunately, the book like reminded us that Campar just continuously makes inappropriate jokes. So I was like, he's the funny guy. I got it. So I
Speaking of Kampa, I wanted to bring up because he is the first example in my head of something the book likes to bring up a fair bit, which is this concept of like humans having pathological moves. So when somebody sort of reached the end of their rope or whatever, you see like everyone has a sort of pathological thing they fall back on. So Compars is like cracking jokes, Tonners is having a tantrum basically.
being just
Um,
like everyone's talking about how much Daffod sucks. Like Tonner, Jesus Christ, dude.
yeah, Else sure knows how to pick him. But yeah, like I thought that was like a sort of a really fun way, and I think like on the second read helped me, I guess, keep some of the characters apart a bit better. And it's something I think like I wish the book had hit even harder. Is like it's sort of I think it's modeling the people on this team as each one kind of having their own pathological move. And it's an interesting idea for us to sort of like as the pattern to base all your characters off. And I hope they do even more of it going ahead, especially as we get presumably more inhuman characters.
Yeah, I mean that's just from a pure writing standpoint, you always want to give your character a flaw. And I thought it was kind of a fun trick that they were like, we're gonna have the character lampshade and talk about the fact that every character has a flaw and make it really obvious and clear because why not, right? I mean, I don't actually think that all writing needs to be totally obscure and snooty. I think sometimes you could just be like, here's what we're doing. Um, and I think it works really well. I agree with you. The idea that each of these people has a terrible personality flaw that maybe in some cases is actually adaptive for the situation, at least in the short term. Like it wouldn't be something that would be nice to have on your graduate school, team, but it might actually be kind of handy when you're in a death race with a bunch of monkeys. Um,
Yeah.
that occurred to me while reading. I was like, they're really getting a lot of mileage out of it. I mean, this connects to something that somebody said in the chat just a second ago. They brought up the concept of morality. We love to talk about morality here at Doof Media, and they basically said like by it was okay. I can't find who said it. I apologize, but they said, are the humans who collaborate with the Carricks compromised morally? And my reaction to that is like, I mean, yes, but they can't really afford to be moral because this is like they've been put back in a purely Darwinian context. It is literally nature red in tooth and claw again, and you live by your wits, and you can be completely not just killed, but humanity can be exterminated if you screw up.
Yeah. Well,
So
obviously there is the argument that it would be better to die nobly as a species, and obviously one man tries to make that call for everyone.
yeah,
And then Daffod goes ahead and makes a very different one.
yeah,
But
Well,
yeah.
and
yeah.
and I think it is a little complicated. And sorry, I'll let you talk, Matt. Like, I agree. I think this is actually a really fantastic like decision point of like if you are truly fucked, right? Like if this species has complete control over you and there is nothing you can do, there is absolutely nothing you can do, then I do understand the sentiment of like at least I can retain who I am, what we are, and die in what I define as an honorable way. I think that the Daffin side of this is like, no, we have to survive at all costs, and it is a little bit complicated by the fact that that is manipulated and pushed by the swarm that is in and of itself operating under a very specific like the thing it needs to do. Like this is its purpose is I need to find a way at all costs, anyone else be damned, to transport the information I have back to my people that are definitely not humans. Definitely not. It's definitely not humans. And so I think that complicates it as well, right? Because it's not just these two ideologies; it's one ideology being pushed by another thing as well.
It's
Yeah.
also like Dafford makes his decision with intel from the swarm that there's an enemy out there that it's trying to get information to. So
Right,
like he is leaning a little bit more die nobly, I'd say, up until the swarm's like there actually is a chance though.
right.
So like he's doing different calculus to the rest of the human race.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I think I had a strong reaction of just like, yeah, you can die nobly. That's fine if you want to die nobly, but you don't get to
Yeah,
decide that everybody has to die nobly. Like you don't
yeah.
get to decide that for the human race. That's
Sure.
um and so I mean that's why there was like a savage sort of law of the jungle justice to Daffod just betraying them, because it's like you all wanted to die anyway. So die then. Like like let us have a chance.
But
Um
he felt really bad about it though, so that's
a-
fine.
and I get why he felt bad, because it was a betrayal of his friends. But it's like it's a horrible betrayal, and yet you can't really be like you should have let them,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, so and destroy humanity. Yeah, no, it's I love it. I love the complexity and how it kind of tore me in different directions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
part of me almost wishes the swarm hadn't confessed to Daffod, because I think it would have been really fun just to see that, like just on the merits of it as a decision of like, are you allowed to drag everyone else with you?
Hmm.
mhm.
Right,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, people were talking about like this idea, this concept of this is essentially enslavement, and humanity has existed under enslavement like throughout the entirety of our history, right? And people have been enslaved and had their freedom and their ability to choose, all the stuff ripped away from them countless times throughout our existence, and people have always found a way to live through it and carve out their own spot in existence, right? And so like
Mm.
I think that is just fundamentally true about us, and I ultimately like that's why I kind of side with the idea of that, like doing this heroic self-sacrifice, retain what it means to be human by allowing ourselves to be quickly murdered and accomplish nothing. That's why that doesn't appeal to me, because it's like I've seen people in the worst possible scenarios find a way to live and retain who they are a little
Yeah,
bit.
Mm.
and to connect that to the themes and I guess the setting, an element that we haven't talked about is that these are humans, but they're all on this planet
Hmm.
with a completely weird biosphere, but then there's also all of the earth flora and fauna, and there's evidence of like orbital nuclear bombardment in the past on the planet. And we, being science fiction readers, are like, okay, so this was a human colony at some point. There was a giant war that has apparently just like scoured humanity out of anywhere near here. So effectively, this group of people had to build themselves back up from the Stone Age over the course of thousands of years, with no connection to any other human empire. And there's no, I mean, Scott, you sort of gestured at it a second ago, jokingly, but like it's possible that there are humans out there and that they're like post-human now, maybe, and that's who the characters are fighting. I don't know. It's the kind of thing that jumps to your mind when you've read a bunch of sci-fi, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the Swarm, the creators of the
Yeah,
Swarm, it is pretty, not explicitly, but pretty like loosely gestured that these are human,
yeah,
like maybe a descendant of humanity, that our characters have a commonality, but later, like maybe they look different now or something.
yeah.
It's who knows?
Right.
But I
Admittedly,
think.
my favorite evidence for the whole like the enemy is somehow related to humans is when Kurtikal is interrogating the prisoner, and it tells him to go inseminate the
Yeah,
sovereign. Like, we're not telling you feces eaters anything, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, so like that's the half mind
yeah.
kind of doing its best to translate like you
English.
like we're not telling you motherfucking shit
Yeah,
eaters anything. Like,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So to round out what I was saying, like that's an example of humanity, being brought down to the lowest level and then building itself back up again, right? And
Mm.
that's how we're introduced to these people. It's just like, yeah, humanity, we are this is how we like to see ourselves anyway. We are really good at getting ourselves out of a really bad scrap. We don't necessarily do it with grace and dignity, but we do it.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I want to comment, like, I saw some chat earlier talking about, these are incredibly powerful creatures that don't have sewage or sanitation, so they just have poop mats. And that's actually like one thing I love, especially when our characters first get to the planet and everything is like close to how a person would
Yeah.
live, but like missing stuff. And it's like the read you might have on that early on is that they just didn't fully understand what a human needs. And then the read you get later on is they just don't fucking care.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just don't care. They don't care if like, yeah, they could make us a toilet, but who fucking care? You're an animal. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit. Here's your poop mat. Go on the
Yeah.
poop mat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Build your own fucking toilet if it
Yeah.
matters that much to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I was one question I had, and I'm not so much asking this as just expressing that I was kind of delighted that it wasn't clear, is like, do the Carracks have incredible biotechnology where, if somebody had a broken arm, they could just use their magical super post-human tech to fix the arm? Or do they not have that kind of stuff because they are so Darwinian that it's just like, man, if you broke an arm, that's on you. We don't fix people. You shouldn't have gotten your arm injured.
Yeah.
Because you never see any of the humans really get taken care of medically in any way. And so I was like, is it because they can't, or is it because they don't care and sort of aggressively don't care? Where it's like, if you break, then we have learned something useful about your limits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and we even see the one thing you can say positively about the Carracks generally is that they hold themselves to pretty similar standards. So like the old librarian gets killed because Daffod was part of saving his life, and that's unacceptable. And yeah, but you're right. I don't get the impression. I guess the Carracks are more like they're gonna let humans take care of each other, but they're not going to invest in medicine. Like, what? It's not their job to fix
Yeah.
humans. And I mean, and then I don't imagine their own internal healthcare system is particularly progressive.
I don't think
Um,
they have universal healthcare on the Carrot's homeworld. No, no, yeah. I mean, it is interesting. Like over time, we learn that everything that we see in this place is built by other races, right? Like they
mm,
conquered these other species, and these species have survived because they had a useful thing that they could do. And so, like, we see very little of like the stuff that is theirs. I mean, and they've been like going from planet to planet and conquering and doing this for so long, like it might not even be clear like what is Carrick's technology and what is other people's technology anymore, right? I think that's one of the aliens that Daffin talks to argues that it's like we're all
yeah,
Carricks now. Like we are so assimilated into this thing that it's all the same now.
yeah. Like you arguing we're not Carracks is some semantic crap I have no interest in. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm. I love that part. The part where they're sort of a series of short interviews
that
with
was so
yes,
fun.
with
Yeah,
these other races and how they all have their own way of dealing with their reality, or their way of seeing things. um
hmm
I like the culture of it was so interesting, where all of the races seem to have their own cultures, but there's no rules against them talking to each other. It's just there seems to be very pragmatic sense of like, obviously I'm on the team of my race because we stand or fall together. um and we can cooperate with the other races to the extent that it's required by the Carracks, but we're not going to cooperate beyond that. That's one of the angles I was thinking about, like where I would take this story if I was going to,
mhm,
write fan fiction. It would be like, can can people go above and beyond that? Can a good negotiator create alliances between the races that don't break any of the characters' rules, but they're able to accomplish things and get leverage in ways that hasn't happened before because everyone has been so defensive and isolationist prior to that.
Mhm.
I think it'd be really interesting to see that be something the humans start to do more as they become one of these carracks, like slave races in the next book. If they're the ones who are uniquely via Daffod kind of able to synergize the other races, like so, get find find synergies between the others, and then sort of become more useful to the carracks in their own domain, which is orchestrating the
Mhm.
rest of it.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be awesome. I want to see that.
Yeah. Y'all are so I came into this being like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like read the rest of the books in this series or not. And now I'm like, yeah, I have to. I know there's a new one coming out like this month, right?
Oh, I think it's April, maybe.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I think it's planned to be a trilogy, and also because it's James S. A. Corey, you get a little novella between each pair of
Mm,
novels.
okay.
So
Oh.
there's a novella called Live Suit, which
Mm,
is about some other stuff. They like to use the novellas to cover events that like are interesting other parts of the world, but out of the context of the main series. So like stuff they wouldn't be able to cram into the main story.
mm,
Okay.
cool.
Um, so like, I mean, obviously, they're very reminiscent of Wildbow interludes is the comparison that has kept coming up in Belting at Windmills. It's just
Wow.
like, okay, good. Now we get a little novella we can write about, like, these characters that we couldn't find time for in the actual series.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I like the ideas a lot. I think I
Mhm.
just was a little cool on many of the characters. Not all. I mean, I like Daffod. I unfortunately I can't remember people's names very well, but I liked um I liked some of the characters and I liked a lot of the situations that we got into. It was just that I couldn't keep track of who was doing what. Um, but maybe that'll clear up as in the next book as there are going to be slightly fewer characters, possibly.
And as Elliot said, I think we're probably gonna break them off into smaller groups, possibly. Like the feeling at the end of this book is that the work group, their time together has ended. Um, and so we'll see how that breaks off. My favorite part is when Daffod broke Tonner's elbow because he's being a fucking idiot.
No, my
Yeah,
favorite part is when they get back and Tonna starts making excuses again, and Compass like, Shut up, or I'll break the other one."
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree. He was the worst. It's not even close.
Yeah, he's yeah, yeah. So we haven't talked much about the swarm itself, right? We talked about it's
Yeah.
maybe human made, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on here, and I'm really curious to see how this ends up comparing or contrasting with the Carracks themselves, right? Because we what we've been
Mm.
talking about is we've been talking about races of people assimilating into some sort of whole, or maybe their inability to assimilate into some sort of whole. And at the same time, we have this swarm character who is attempting to assimilate ghosts of the personalities of the people that it has taken over, in a way that it doesn't seem to fully understand or know how to do. And there's a lot of really interesting stuff there. Again, like we can't really conclude definitively on any of it yet, but it's
Yeah.
another good setup.
No, but it seems like a great foil to the Carracks in that it's
Yeah.
something that has secretly inserted itself into the society and is accidentally absorbing more of it than it expected to. And I think what we're going to see as this series progresses is the Carracks accidentally inherit more of humanity's quirks than they anticipate too. Um,
We fuck them up by making them like us. That's what we do. That's what we do.
that would be a funny way to round it out.
Yeah.
Ultimately, their weakness was they were able to be turned into humans. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree. The swarm's fascinating. Like this idea that it's basically becoming a person or a human in a way that it's not prepared for, and I get the vibe it's kind of a prototype weapon. So perhaps the creators, weren't really aware that that might happen either.
Mhm.
Um, but that's such a funny wrench to throw in this story which like you were saying earlier is about kind of the spirit of humanity surviving this like oppressive Darwinian environment, then you've also got this like machine that has a mission that's accidentally becoming human. It's like, oh, it's such a fun third party to throw in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's this really interesting thing because the framing of it is we have this thing that has taken over one of our characters that all of our other characters love. And so you kind of are immediately distrustful and maybe angry towards that idea, but then you have they are the enemy of the group of aliens that has just enslaved your race and so like we're in this real situation where we're like who am I rooting for in this whole thing, right? Like, and we don't know, and I think that's a really cool place to be.
Yeah.
Oh, and the setup for the drama in the next book of like, Jessen and Daffod both being primed to absolutely hate the Swarm once they find out that it's Jellet for different
Mhm.
reasons.
Yeah,
I trust these authors enough to make that fun rather than a bit like over the top. But like it's a great setup.
it's gonna be really great because yeah, it's very clear that the Swarm is actually in love with Daffin.
Yes,
I keep saying
which is
Daffin,
just a
Daffin. Yeah.
funny. That's such a funny idea. It's like, hey, what if we made like the Weasley betrayer guy, and then also the alien hive mind thing kind of has a crush on him?
Yeah.
Like,
I like that too
genius.
because the swarm starts out almost like the scramblers or something from Blindsight, where it's just like so inhuman
Mhm.
that it doesn't even think anything wrong with like basically killing its first host because it's like whatever, it's the mission. I don't care about this at all. And then by the end of the book, it's like the poignancy of my burden. I will never be with my love.
Do you think maybe he'll still want to be with me? And the voice in his head are like, no.
Oh, yeah.
um, I had a thought about this book while I was just going for a walk, and I was walking on the sidewalk next to the road with the houses and the airplanes overhead, and I saw like a crow, and I'm like, oh, I'm the Carricks. That's what I look like to you.
Yeah.
I'm an inscrutable star being who has super technology and you're just like trying to survive in my world and I kind of feel bad for you but not really.
That reminds me. I read an article recently about like I think it was somewhere in Sweden or something. They set up like machines that crows could put rubbish into, and it would dispense food. And they basically trained the local corvid population to like clean up the street by giving them food.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like maybe
and
we
and
are the Carricks.
and one of them was named Daffod and
um yeah, I mean that's perfect. Like what is like traveling with your dog in an airplane when they put your dog under the airplane, but being in an orange room with a poop pad, right? Like,
okay, see, I was pretty much joking when I first mentioned the crow thing, but now I'm thinking more and more like how much was inspired by just thinking about what animals experience humanity to be.
mhm. Yeah.
That's great.
Could we build a toilet for a dog? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we
not
could
really.
could do a lot of stuff for our yeah.
Well, yeah, and like the Carricks taught the humans how to sit, right? Like there's the bowed down position with the arms
Mhm.
splayed out.
Yeah, you're right.
That's yeah, like they're teaching them tricks.
Oh my god, we're awful.
Yeah,
This book is just going to be all about how we're awful in all the ways.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you're right. Yeah,
jokes aside, it is primed to be a thing that really examines the essential core of what humanity is
yeah,
in a way that I think is going to be really fun.
yeah. I mean, folks are talking about the feather monkeys, the night drinkers again, which I feel like we should hit at least one more time because that's a great example where it's like those creatures are sort of portrayed as being just as smart as we are because they solved the biochemical problem. They just solved it in a different way.
Hmm.
Um, and that they, I don't know if it's safe to say that they figured out that it was a free for all quicker than we did, or if they were just here longer. But in either case, they figured out it was a free for all. They tried to attack us, but they were insufficiently thorough. And then and you don't if you come at the king, that being humanity, you best not miss, because then we hit them back like much harder. And I was like, yeah, that's and I think it was great. Okay, who is the character who has depression?
Jessen.
Like
Yeah.
she was a great character to me. I really enjoyed
Yes.
in a dark way how she goes from being like really really struggling to becoming just this like revenge creature when her friend is killed and she feels like she's responsible, and she's like, I'm gonna wipe out these motherfuckers, and that becomes her drive, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, this is a fantastically dark look at humanity, where what is the thing that pulls her up out of her depression? Desire for genocide.
Yes. There's a great quote as well. I think when she starts synthesizing her own meds again, I actually pulled it out because I like it's like Jessen knew the medicine was starting to work when her fantasies changed from suicide to murder.
Yes. 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 Exactly. I love that.
And yeah,
love
it's
it.
like, yep, that's a human for better and for worse. That's a human. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and it's such a, I know we already talked about this, but just to hit it again, like they they hit us, we hit them back harder. They come back and say, "Okay, we fucked up. Look, we're really sorry about this. We're really sorry. We'll never do it again." And what they get in return for that is extermination. They're
Yeah.
done. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. But I mean, presumably, right? That's like the same thing that would have happened to us, where they
Yeah.
would have deemed us not useful and wiped out the rest of humanity. So this is a race of creatures that now no longer exists in the universe.
Yeah.
Because they did the thing that, because like there's a moment in this whole buildup of conflict between these two groups of people where you, the reader, are like, come on, man, y'all have the same
Yeah.
enemy. Like, what if you work together, right? What if we find common ground? What if maybe we, the humans, need to be the first person that goes, hey, stop. We went too far with this. And then the night drinkers are the ones that do that.
Yeah.
And they are wiped out.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting because I wasn't actually sure if there was some way through where both races could have survived. Like, is it specifically because the night drinkers explicitly surrendered and the Carricks are like, oh, surrender is not a thing that we do. You don't give up. That is the one thing that we're not cool with. Like, but if we had formed an alliance with them, again, it wasn't obvious because no one understood the Carrick's motivations.
Yeah.
But I do just wonder academically, like if it had been more of like a, all right, neither of us is going to surrender, but we're going to just agree not to do this anymore. Like, would that have still triggered a genocide? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I like that I don't know, because it's terrifying. Because
Yeah.
Yeah, I get like my understanding of the Carricks, having just reread the book, is they're like pathologically, I mean, Darwinian is the term that the blurb used, and I mean, like that's like their whole philosophy of the like what is like there's no such thing as possibility. Like they see themselves as just, well, I guess they see all life as like just the embodiment of the will of the deterministic universe. So stuff just kind of happens. So, which is why the surrendering, I mean, is that so they're like, oh, you gave up unless you're like a weaker part of the universe's psyche, so we need to cull you, or like, yeah, it.
Mhm.
I don't know. I sort of started talking and thought I was going somewhere, and then changed my mind
Yeah.
halfway through. But yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, is it's like by surrendering, you're basically saying, okay, if you're not going to fight for your own interests, then why should I protect you? And why should I like
Yeah.
what value are you?
Mhm.
But that's different from saying like, we're going to cooperate.
Yes.
and,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like Scott said, I actually like that I don't know, and that I still feel a little on my toes, because I'm like, you don't feel, you never feel safe with the Carracks because they might, they might decide that you have shown yourself to be defective in some way.
Yeah.
I love the moment, by the way, kind of around this, when I think that, yeah, Daffod goes to the Carracks and he's like, "We can't work under these conditions," and he's like, "You can't work under these conditions." That's interesting.
No, I think it's Ton. Yeah, Tonna said Tonna's like, we can't work under these conditions, and the character repeats that, and Daffod's like, oh, yes, no, we can actually.
Yeah, yeah, that was great. Even though I think as the reader, I didn't fully understand
Yeah.
what was going on. I was starting to grasp it,
Yeah,
and I was like, "Okay, don't say that.
yeah, yeah.
Don't." Yeah,
It's as soon as Daffod starts correcting him, you're like, oh, yep, yep, no, yep, smart, smart.
yeah.
See, that's why I can't hate him fully, because like it is just he's so clever, and like while and I
Yes.
understand, like it's kind of perfectly designed where he's the odd man out in the research group, because everyone just dives into the project itself and he feels useless. And so what does he start doing? He just starts looking around,
Mhm.
and everything that happens is a kind of result of him just like starting to like look at the world instead of at the project.
Yeah.
And yeah. um
Yeah, like a sociology major accidentally snuck his way into the biochem team, and it's gonna cost the Carracks their entire empire. Um,
I have to say I did not know that this was planned to be like a 3-book series, and in my head I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like another like 9-book thing like The Expanse." And I think that was part of the hesitation of me saying, "I don't know if I wanna commit myself to this to a thing that." But so hearing it's just gonna be 3 books with a couple of novellas makes me much more likely to
yeah.
commit to this thing.
And it was, if you're on the fence, I'd recommend giving the start of Live Suit, the novella, a try, because
Okay,
it's very different in a way. I think it gave me more faith in the breadth of where this series might go than the like Mercy of Gods in and of itself. Like Live Suit very much is like, it shows you a whole different sort of side of things, and you're like, oh, okay, there's going to be a lot more to this than what we've seen.
cool, that's exciting.
Um, I just jumping back to the Carrick's morality stuff a little bit, because this jumped out to me on this second read, and I'm really interested to see if it goes anywhere in the next two books. I really hope it does. But like when Akurtakal is interviewing these, interrogating the prisoners, they imply that they're like artificial life, and he finds that like fucking disgusting. Like he's like,
Mhm.
that is an abomination. He starts talking about how it's like, oh, we've encountered this before. There was like the stone mind of High Lothark, which, like, given that one of their slave races is the like other Lothark, it's like, okay, so they were ruled by an AI that got killed off, I guess. Um, but like it's just an interesting extra detail for this character's morality to me, of like, okay, they're like obsessively Darwinian and believe that all life is the expression of the universe's will or whatever, and they need to cull the best of it as Darwinian evolution does. But they fucking hate the concept of artificially created minds. Like that's a really fun extra detail that you could play around with in the later books.
For sure. I mean, definitely they seem to leverage, slave races to do everything in places where
Yes.
you would think that they would use robots, right? I mean, even calling it, so like calling it artificial life, I was actually like, is it even really artificial life, or is it just a robot? Because to me,
Yeah.
an artificial, yeah,
Oh, sorry.
y-
Yeah,
y-
yeah. No, you're right. Sorry. Like, I mean AI just in the sense of like intelligently designed.
yeah,
Like, yeah, like because there would have to be a better way than using all of these slave races as they come. Like, if you really wanted to get the best utility out of them, you'd like study their biology or behavior, and like there'd be a more clinical way to do this. But they have this. They do seem to have some inherent belief in like the natural order,
hmm,
like the
yeah,
life has to have naturally evolved, and like the fact that they do have some machines but they insist on calling them half minds. um
yeah,
like it's a fun aspect. It'll be interesting to see where that goes, especially if we find that yeah, there is more artificiality or like just intelligent design behind the enemy. that they're
Yeah.
fighting and stuff.
Because the swarm is certainly an AI,
Yes.
originally, but then it absorbs more humanity, right? That's I was thinking about you mentioned Dune already, but I was thinking about Dune and just like the ways in which science fiction authors always have to, if they don't want their story to be centrally about AI, then they have to bend over backwards to make it so. And and in this case, it's because the characters are like radically anti-AI, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, do you think there's a specific reason for that, or is that just like we'll find out later thing, or do you have
Yeah.
any actual like theories?
I think it's innate to this philosophy they have of like what is like they seem to think life is sacred in that it's like the expression of the universe or whatever, and so it's perverse to think that you should make your own. Like basically, they just be big Mary Shelley fans, I guess. Like, but like it's just kind of boiled into their general philosophy.
Yeah. And also the thing, so this feels related. So like the Carricks have a really unique biology where they change their physical form in response to circumstances. Um, but like they don't, impose that upon other races. Like for example, we haven't seen any evidence that they breed the races that they enslave. Have we? Am I wrong? I mean,
Not that I can think of. I mean, to some degree, there's going to be some uh, Darwinian pressure that they're putting on, but like obviously, but they don't. They're not breeding them like horses or anything for
right.
specific traits.
And that's interesting, right? Like if you're going to bother to have like your race of creatures that you use as shock troops, but you're not going to breed them to be better shock troops, um, except to the extent that just naturally happens, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of an interesting observation. We could be wrong. It could just be that we haven't seen them doing this, and so we're making an
Yeah.
assumption. But um,
No, but I like that. That sort of fits in with this Reddit sort of having there. They just yeah, they basically believe in evolution to the point that like you don't interfere with it, you just enable it or give it some direction or something. And so the idea that you'd create life from scratch, however you do it, is just like abhorrent. And yeah, that's really fun.
John says they do breed the Rockund, so that wasn't load bearing to my argument, but I just thought it was interesting that it's like they they're not all about like bioengineering in the way that you might think. That was more what I was trying to say by saying that they don't breed. I was more trying to say like they're not maximalist bioengineering. Like um, they're not bioengineering all their slave races. They're just kind of at most maybe breeding them a little bit.
Mm.
Anyway,
And I always love a baddie who has some code like this, especially
mm,
one that is just like nonsensical, but like having some diehard attachment to the concept of like it has to be natural evolution and we can give it nudges. But like, but it's like, from our perspective, it's just kind of like that's such a dumb place to draw the line. Um, I like I'll never get sick of baddies like that. We sort of like, okay, well, they're gonna stick to their code, even though it's a dumb one.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. As long as they're consistent, it makes it a fun puzzle. Um,
yeah.
to kind of return to what we started talking about, the the central idea that I was interested in and kind of engaged with is like, okay, we got to crack the code of what do these guys want so that we can give it to them and then eventually use it to get some leverage over them. This is what Daffod is thinking, at least.
Hmm.
Um,
But does it even work that way? I mean, I think that's the thing that's going to be really interesting is what Elliot said is like, are humans gonna infect these things?
yeah, or
Is
or
that even possible?
or just like if humans successfully like defeat the Carricks and supplant them, then are the Carricks going to be like, good job, yes,
Right. What
That's
is right? It's like
I think it could.
if we are not strong enough, if we are so weak that we can be defeated by these people, then we don't
Yeah,
deserve to live.
I think it to Klaus says that in one of his little openings to one of the sixth book. He sort of like he says like I'm applauding you as as you win. So like, who has the better code? Like, there's a line like that that jumped out to me because I was
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, like good
Yeah.
on you, idiot. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Uh, well, it's to call if the rule that led you to this, blah blah blah. You
I
know what
do
I mean?
think so. You got me opening the book, and I'm reading the first part of part one, which is interesting, and it reminds me of that. Like, if we're talking about this idea that like, oh, maybe humanity is gonna kind of infect these people and fuck them up and change them a little ways. The final statement of the human librarian does he sometimes says stuff that I'm like, based on my understanding of the Carricks, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like in this opening part, he's like, you can't imagine how powerless and weak it seemed. We brought fire, death, and chains to Anjin. We took from it what we deemed useful to us and culled those who resisted. And in that is our regret. Regret? Would a race like this have regret?
yeah,
Hmm.
interesting. Because what is, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like they were never going to do anything different. It would have been,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe they are gesturing towards in the future, whenever this final log of this Carricks is written, that they have been changed in some ways.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can't wait to find out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good book though. I like this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I will read
I'm
the sequels.
Now that I know
yeah,
there's
I'm
not going to
very
be 12
interested
of
to
them,
see
I'm in. Yeah.
where we go from here. Like
Cool.
what does it look like now that humanity has, I guess, passed the initial test?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a sense of a hope at the end of the book, which I think might be a little unjustified. I don't necessarily think the soft Lothar and Rakund are doing better. Like I guess it depends how you define better, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I had the same sentiment as you, and I guess I'm not saying I disagree, but like if you're a highly athletic claw creature who's not very smart, then yeah, you're probably going to get used as a shock troop. But if you're a super brain who can crack the biotechnology puzzles that are important, um, maybe you just get used somewhere that's more comfortable. I don't know.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think
well,
to the question of like we're all Carricks is like I think it goes back to that central question of like in an effort to save humanity, at what point, like when does humanity stop being humanity? You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, that's what we've got the swarm to answer that
Yeah.
question for
Yeah.
us in reverse, I guess. But um, yeah, like at what point does the swarm become human enough that they matter?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Um, okay, sorry, I was something you said tickled, and I'm rewinding a little bit in the conversation. My my interpretation, which could be wrong, of why they said they regretted it was that they had taken on the swarm. Um, it, in other words, this deposition is being given in the future relative to the current story,
Mm-hmm.
and at that
Yes.
point in time, this Carrix is aware that there was a poison pill in this mouthful when they came and they took the humans to their world, and now they know that they know that there was this sleeper agent coming from their great enemy, but they didn't know it at the time, and that was what they regretted. That was my
Yeah.
yeah
So this is fun where words can be fun, right? Because the last line of this is, we did not see the adversary for what he was, and we brought him into our home. Now, that
That could be either.
you could just that's the swarm. He's talking about the swarm, or he's talking about mankind,
yeah.
right?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
Or
fun.
even individually,
Yeah.
Daffod.
Yeah. It's cool stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
love
think
it.
I think it's been intentionally vague exactly what has happened. Like it's a fun set of like epilogue thing or like post stuff we're getting because it really makes you focus on the journey rather than the destination as you're reading. Like you're sort of like, okay, cool, humanity is going to do all right. Like that's established from page one. So now we just get to see what horrors we have to commit and go through to get there.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
agree.
Yeah.
That's a good kind of irony. Works well.
Yeah, I like that. Anything else either of y'all wanted to say about the book before we bring it to an end?
I'm good.
I had one other quote I wanted to call out. This is from the first chapter, and it really jumped out to me on the reread. The one of the first things David's aunt says to him, she scolds him and says, "You're too fond of being underestimated. It's a vice. You're going to have to impress someone someday." Um, that line ages very well. So yeah, just had to call that out as
I love
Yeah,
that. That's
some
great.
great foreshadowing.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right. So I am going to ask the audience if you have anything else you wanted to hit or any questions or anything that we can discuss before we end it. I am also sending you guys right now a link to the straw poll once more. If you haven't already voted um, for next month's book, please do so because the poll is about to close.
While
So,
we're giving them a chance to respond, I'll just say the one thing that I think we just didn't talk about at all, which is the actual invasion, um, which I thought was really good. And you could very easily map our society onto this, where it's just like, you hear, you see on Twitter, oh, they've detected something coming toward Earth, and it's kind of weird. Oh, it's clearly alien spaceships. They're slowing down. They've detached pods, and everybody just like sort of just like freezing up and just being like, well, this seems bad, and just like wait, there's like bracing for impact until I liked how it was almost like understated. It really struck me as very realistic how sort of understated and just like resigned everyone was. Um,
Yeah.
cool.
It is like, I mean, I guess because there is that thing of like, what are they meant to do? Like, I mean, the military threw some shit at them. It didn't work. Like,
Mhm.
I may as well just sit here and wait to die, I guess.
Yeah. And then when the aliens landed, there's some fraction of people tried to fight back, and they were just slaughtered. So yeah.
I really like conceptually, like I'm not a fan of doing this in real life, but the killing 1/8 of the population as the initial power move
Yeah.
thing was like a great stake setter. You're like, okay, cool. Like
Yeah.
this is a bad.
These guys aren't messing around. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, John asks if any thoughts about the intentional parallels to Daniel. I'm guessing you mean like of the Lion's Den, Daniel.
Yes, I think between Ty and Dan, this was initially pitched as sci-fi, the Book of Daniel.
Okay.
Like so, it draws a lot of inspiration from that part of the Bible, is my understanding.
That makes sense. So, like, one thing I did want to say when you read the summary was like it's very focused on Daffod, and like I get it. He's like, I'm not saying he's not the main character, but this is a book with like it's a lot of characters, right? There's a lot of different people, there's a
Mm.
lot of different points of view. I think he's definitely the protagonist, but it's kind of an ensemble piece as well. So maybe that summary fits the initial like Daffod David idea. So
Yeah, like that might have been an early sort of blurb or something. Like,
yeah,
yeah. Because it's like,
I
yeah, like we haven't talked about Jessen that much, but I actually did really enjoy her and her entire arc of dealing with her. I
mhm.
forget the term she uses for how her brain like works against her. It's a very funny combative phrase, but like we haven't talked much about Tonna, but I'm fine about that because the guy's a twat. But um, like Jessen's really cool. It's just I don't feel like I have that much to say apart from I really liked her and can't wait to see where she goes next.
Yeah.
Especially now that Jellet is the Swarm.
Yeah, I enjoyed her a lot too. I think there's plenty of opportunity there. I unfortunately don't know much about the story of Daniel outside like the Lion's Den portion of the story. That was the part of Daniel we always that we always learned about. So I'm not super well versed in what else Daniel's getting up to in there.
I read up on it a few weeks ago because like somebody else brought that up, and like that's pretty much the gist. Is basically I think the Israelites are like banished from their homeland, and so Daniel and a bunch of his mates get enslaved by Babylon, and then basically Daniel's just so good at being like an advisor and a genius that he ends up
Yeah.
like more or less on top of the pecking order in the Babylonian Empire and convincing them um, that his god is the true god. Um, and I think there could be some fun comparisons there with like to just like substitute the word god there for like philosophies.
Mm,
Um, and there might be some fun playground, but like I think yeah, from what I could tell, like the Book of Daniel is just kind of on repeat. Him, a Babylonian king, being like, "Fuck you," and trying to do something like put him in a lion's den, and him being okay, and then being like, "Oh shit, like maybe you're onto something."
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
the Lion's Den story is actually very funny because the king was totally at this point in support of Daniel,
yes.
and it was actually like his people that like tricked him into throwing Daniel in the lion's den because he's like, "Hey, you should make a law that people are only allowed to worship you and to pray to you." And he's like, "Oh yeah, great idea." And then they're like, "Oh, hey, Daniel did he's praying to that god again. He's doing it again." And like I think the king literally goes to Daniel and is like, I'm kind of in a bind here, buddy.
Yeah.
I ha- I have to throw you into this lion's den. I'm sorry. I feel really bad about it, but I have to throw you in there. But just pray to your God and it'll probably be okay. And it was.
Yeah.
He was.
What's funny is I actually then read this. So that's only like the first half of the Book of Daniel.
Mhm.
The second half is then all entirely like visions of future predictions, like Armageddon-y type shit. um, that I was like, I have not encountered this part before, and then I sort of read the synopsis, and I was like, oh, that's why it's all like just very abstract nonsense.
Yeah,
Um,
the Bible needs to calm down with that shit sometimes. It's just
yeah,
like
but like that feels like another section where it'd be right to pull imagery from, and then like when the series is complete, you'll be able to be like, oh yes, that was Vision 7 from Daniel's collection or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It like I don't quite know enough about the Book of Daniel, but I love the taking the concept of like person who's enslaved, sort of tipping the balance of power and just
yeah.
transporting that to a
It,
sci-fi.
yeah.
it's also Red Rising. It's my favorite story type.
Uh, do y'all have any theories about Anjin besides the kind of ones we already talked about?
I've seen people toss around the idea that like if you go with the theory that the enemy of the Carracks is like a wider network of humanity, I've seen the theory banded around that Anjin is like a Trojan horse as an entire planet. Um, but
Mm,
I don't like that, and I hope it's wrong.
I mean, I think my assumption was simply like what I said earlier, that it was a human colony. There was a war of some kind. There were some survivors. The human biosphere and the native biosphere both persist. I thought it was kind of funny how the human biosphere persisted to the extent that they have like all of the same fruit and vegetables, and they have
Yeah.
coffee, and they have like literally everything.
See,
yeah.
that's why I actually like I guess my pet theory is it wasn't like a war. I wonder if maybe like say the Carracks and the humans were fighting, and these were some people who just were like, nah, fuck that. Like, and it was actually like an intentional runaway, because that would also explain how human society survived, but seemingly had no concrete memory of how they arrived. Like if they basically landed, set up enough so that they knew they could survive, and then nuked all their technology.
Mm,
Like maybe it was very intentionally some like Luddites basically who are like,
mm.
no, we've just got to go back to the old fashioned ways.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I like it. Um, PETA is saying we need to read Live Suit because it has context on some of this stuff. So
I'm
Okay.
very intentionally not bringing that up, but yes, live suit, live suit, like engages with some of the stuff that's been brought up today.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna go read it right now. How long is it? How long are the novellas usually?
Um, like 70-ish pages, or like the audiobook's usually like 2.5 hours.
Okay, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna refresh the poll one more time. A lot of y'all voted for Dungeon Crawler Carl. Like
So
a lot of y'all.
that book keeps coming up in Belting at Windmills too, like in our discussion question answers. People really seem to like it.
Yeah. I mean that's why I put it on the poll, because like it showed up in nominations, and like I've seen it just everywhere, just absolutely everywhere. Um and there's like 40 of them, it feels like. So it's one of those things where I guess we should try to read it, but it didn't win. So sorry everyone. Tana French wins, and all is right with the world once again. So next month on the book club, we will be taking a look at Faithful Place by Tana French. Arguably, and maybe we'll talk about this next month, Matt, but I think my favorite of the Dublin Murder Squad books.
I'm so happy.
So so we do that, and Dungeon Crawler Carl will be back to fight another day. I'm sure Carl will see
And then
success in a future one.
month after that, Faith of Beasts.
Yeah. So I always like. I'm fine doing that. I'm always cautious about doing direct sequels on book club, because you've basically told someone that didn't do that didn't read the last book, oh, now you have a month to read 2 books, get on it. But we've done it before, and I would probably be okay doing it again. We'll see.
Look, I'll run a clean campaign, and if it wins, it wins.
Bent Westward asks, can I read Faithful Place as their first Tana French? So the cool thing about the Dublin Murder Squad series is basically the way it works is there is a lead detective and their partner in every book. And the next book in the series, the partner detective from the previous book is now the lead detective. So all that being said, there is some like connecting tissue between the books of just like how the characters interact with each other and stuff like that. But I think, and Matt, you can say whether you disagree with me or not, I think you can read them in any order you want.
I mean, even the one case where like a character is kind of messed up because of a thing that happened in a previous book, I feel like you could read those in either order, and it doesn't like ruin it if you were to read. So in short, I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, we read Secret Place first, which was the one before Faithful Place, I think, which is like the 4th one. And then I went back and read them all from there, and felt I didn't feel like I missed anything or missed out on
Sounds like a
anything.
good balance.
Yeah.
This one in particular, I don't think has any like prerequisites, because this character, I mean, he does interact with one character who shows up again elsewhere, but not in a way where you're like spoiled. In fact, it's the correct order. So it's good. Yeah.
And then Chrissy asks, is the next Cal Hooper book going to be out for voting when it comes up? That is Tana French's next series, which turned into a trilogy. And the new book in that series comes out at the end of March. So maybe we've covered the first 2 books in that series. We also have a We Pick 'em coming up. So, we're gonna
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would say any book is a great place to get in and to be your first Tana French book. I think the only exception to that would be this Cal Hooper trilogy, which I think I haven't read the 3rd book, obviously, but I think the 2nd book connects very closely to the first, and it seems like probably the 3rd book will do the same. So if you're talking Dublin Murder Squad, any of those books, get them, read them. They're all excellent. This will be our 3rd, I think, Matt. We've done a lot of Tana. We love Tana French here.
We do.
So yeah, that'll be next month. I believe it will be the 27th of March. Yeah, it'll be March 27th. So exactly 1 month from tonight. We'll be reading Faithful Place by Tana French. And you Dungeon Crawler Carl fans out there, don't worry. It's going to be back on the vote eventually. It did well enough that we'll see it back. I'm a little disappointed. No one wants to read Moby Dick, apparently. I'm a little disappointed, but I want to read Moby Dick.
I voted for Moby Dick, Scott.
Well, I thank you, Matt. I appreciate that.
I voted for Frankenstein. Actually, I'm always down to reread.
I haven't read Frankenstein either, so I'm really trying to cross some stuff off the list, and everyone wants me to read Dungeon Crawler Carl instead. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us this month, though. Elliot, thanks so much for coming on the show. We really do appreciate it. I think it's like midday Saturday. Question also unrelated to this, but how come when Matt and Elliot talk, they get to switch spots in the big one, and when I talk, I still have to be in this little tiny one in the corner?
Yeah, are you the host?
Oh, it's on. Oh, because it's on the host. Okay, on the actual stream, it's moving me. Okay, I understand now. I subtract my my complaint.
Yeah, we're gonna have to deal with the fact that on the actual stream, it's like causing everyone to flicker and rotate around randomly sometimes.
Oh yeah, I thought that was just on our end because I was finding it a little disorienting. But I was like, as long as it's just for us.
No, it's on the stream, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I'm going through and deciding which of these different things I like better. So, we'll.
Ooh.
How about well, Elliot, you just gotta lean. Yeah, it's weird that like the way I see it and the way it's actually on the stream is not matching up, which is funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point was, thanks for coming on, Elliot. Where are you guys in Belting at Windmills right now? You're in book 3 now, right?
Yeah, we just reached the halfway point of the 3rd book.
Mm-hmm.
And then we actually are just talking behind the scenes now about whether we're going to keep going after that. So I only managed to convince Ruben to agree to 1 trilogy when we started. So yes, we're figuring out if the end of book 3 is where we take a break or whether we just keep rolling into the other 2 trilogies.
Nice. Yeah, so if you were a listener out there and The Mercy of Gods was your first James S.A. Corey book and you enjoyed it, and you want to read more, the Expanse series is a big series, and if you want some people to follow along with it, Elliot and Ruben are doing that right now. So head on over to Belting at Windmills and try it out.
Yes, it's I think the Expanse is even better than the Mercy of Gods. So if you like this one, I think you'll like it even better.
Nice. I really meant to follow along with y'all. I just want to say I did it for the first book and then I fell behind.
As somebody who got I want to say 6 episodes into your Dark Tower series, I completely understand. Been there.
It's very hard to make a read along series and participate in a read along series at the same time. It's very hard.
I remember trying to follow along with We've Got Ward while making Deep Impact, and it was a nightmare. But yes, sorry, to answer the question in chat, we are doing the novellas in Belting at Windmills in publication order because there is no other correct order. And I will die on this hill. But yeah, it's convenient now. All the novellas at the end got published as 1 book, so it's that
cool.
made it convenient to add them into the slots.
Nice,
good idea.
Awesome. Yeah, make sure you check out Belting at Windmills wherever you can get podcasts.
Yeah,
right. There's nowhere that you're not, right? I didn't just lie there.
I think sometimes we keep having issues with YouTube. So maybe if you use YouTube, give it a day, and hopefully we'll be back. They keep removing us.
Yeah, they don't like y'all's hosting platform that auto posts to it. They really don't like it. But they don't like us when we put clips of movies in our stuff. So they just hate all of us.
Yeah, demonetized instantly, no matter what.
It's great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Elliot. And thank you all at home for tuning in as well. We hope you liked this new streaming format. Obviously, I'm not going to do this one because it involves constant flipping around weirdness, but we'll keep. I want to see if there's a way we can get like a backdrop in it and do like our typical backdrop instead of just a black screen with things on it. But we'll keep working at it. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you are listening to this after the fact, because I am once again posting these episodes to our podcast feed because we got so many people asking us to do that. So I'm doing it again. But we urge, if you can attend live, please do so because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you like what we do here at Doof Media and you want to see more of it, then head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Doof Media and consider donating to support our organization. At any available level, you'll get access to the vote for the books we talk about each month and a bunch of other exclusive features. Why are you shaking your head at me, Scott?
I was shaking my head at the thing I just put up on screen, not at you.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think that was me who accidentally put that on screen. I was trying to like it because, but yeah.
No,
sorry.
it was me. I did it. I don't think you have the power to do that.
Oh, okay, good.
Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to distract you.
It's okay.
Everything you said was true and accurate and wonderful.
Okay, thank you. I think I was done.
And always, if you have any questions or comments or just want to reach out to us, please email us at doofmedia@gmail.com. You can find us on the subreddit, reddit.com/r/doofmedia. And of course, our Patreon. You want to go there, you subscribe, as Matt said, but also there's a free level. We're posting stuff there that's not paywalled as just a way of communicating with us as well. So make sure you do that. All right. Thanks again, Elliot.
Thank you.
You got
great.
the whole day ahead of you. We're going to bed.
Yeah.